The Haunting of Hollow Creek. They say Hollow Creek is just a quiet town nestled between dense woods and rolling hills, a place where nothing out of the ordinary ever happens. But beneath its calm surface lurks a darkness no one dares to speak about. In the fall of 2003, the disappearance of Emily Carter shattered that illusion. Emily was a local college student, known for her bright smile and adventurous spirit. But one chilling October night, she vanished without a trace, leaving only whispers and unanswered questions behind. It began with strange noises at the edge of the forest, muffled screams carried by the cold wind. Locals reported flickering lights and shadowy figures lurking near the abandoned Hollow Creek Asylum, a place with a gruesome history that everyone tried to forget. Emily's friends recalled how she had become obsessed with uncovering the asylum's secrets, convinced that the building held the key to the town's unexplained tragedies. Her journal, found weeks later, was filled with frantic notes, cryptic drawings, and references to the Restless Ones. Detective Laura Mitchell took the lead on the case. A seasoned investigator with a skeptical mind, she was initially dismissive of the supernatural rumors. But as evidence piled up, strange symbols carved into trees, eerie recordings from Emily's last known whereabouts, and testimonies from terrified witnesses, even she couldn't deny something sinister was at play. What had Emily discovered? Was she taken by the darkness that haunted Hollow Creek? Or had the town's darkest secrets finally come to claim another victim? Tonight, we begin unraveling the terrifying truth behind the haunting of Hollow Creek. The town of Hollow Creek was a place where whispers traveled faster than the wind, and everyone knew which doors to keep closed. After Emily Carter vanished, the once peaceful community found itself shrouded in fear and suspicion. Detective Laura Mitchell, new to the force but with a sharp mind and a skeptical heart, was assigned to the case. At first, she dismissed the rumors of hauntings and curses as small-town folklore, but the strange circumstances surrounding Emily's disappearance challenged her skepticism. Witnesses spoke of eerie lights flickering in the abandoned asylum's windows and strange figures lurking near the woods. The hospital, long shuttered after a tragic fire decades earlier, had always been a source of local legends. Ghosts said to roam the halls, restless spirits trapped in time. As Laura dug deeper, she discovered Emily had been investigating the asylum's dark past, uncovering reports of unethical experiments and patients who mysteriously vanished. The line between reality and nightmare blurred when Laura found Emily's journal, filled with frantic entries and cryptic symbols. The community's silence was palpable. Many refused to talk, fearing the curse that seemed to hang over Hollow Creek. Laura realized this was not just a missing person case. It was a descent into the town's darkest secrets, where every clue brought her closer to a truth that some wanted buried forever. The detective's resolve hardened. She vowed to unravel the mystery, no matter the cost, stepping into a world where shadows whispered and the past refused to stay dead. As the days turned into weeks, the atmosphere in Hollow Creek grew heavier, with fear and unanswered questions. Detective Laura Mitchell found herself battling not only the shadows of the past, but also the walls of silence built by the townspeople. Many closed ranks, unwilling to revisit the painful memories tied to the asylum and Emily's disappearance. Despite the pressure, Laura pushed on, guided by Emily's journal, a chaotic collection of notes that hinted at secret meetings, strange rituals, and cryptic warnings about a presence watching from the darkness. Each page revealed more about the asylum's history: patients who vanished without trace, staff who disappeared overnight, and rumors of an experimental treatment that blurred the lines between life and death. Local legends spoke of a figure called the Watcher, said to haunt the woods surrounding the asylum. Some believed it was a vengeful spirit. Others whispered it was something far darker, a guardian of secrets no one was meant to uncover. Laura's investigation led her to old hospital records and faded photographs, pieces of a puzzle that suggested the asylum's closure was anything but accidental. One night, while reviewing surveillance footage from near the asylum ruins, Laura noticed a shadowy figure moving silently between the trees. The figure vanished when approached, leaving only a chilling coldness behind. It became clear that the threat was real, and that Emily's fate might be tied to forces beyond human comprehension. As Laura delved deeper into Hollow Creek's darkest corners, strange occurrences began to plague her own life. Unexplained noises echoed through her home. Objects shifted without explanation, and eerie messages appeared scrawled in her notebook. The line between reality and nightmare blurred, testing her resolve and sanity. The community's fear morphed into paranoia. Some turned to faith, attending late-night vigils to ward off the darkness. Others retreated further into silence, unwilling to face what lurked beneath their town's surface. Laura stood at the crossroads of truth and terror, determined to bring light to the darkness, but aware that some secrets demanded a steep price. The deeper she ventured, the more Laura understood that Emily's disappearance was only the beginning. Hollow Creek was a place where the past never truly died, and the shadows were waiting patiently for their next victim. The deeper Detective Laura Mitchell dug, the more she uncovered a tangled web of deceit, fear, and silence that had gripped Hollow Creek for decades. Local officials and former asylum staff, once trusted pillars of the community, were now suspects in a cover-up that went far beyond a single missing girl. One crucial breakthrough came when Laura found an encrypted diary belonging to a nurse named Margaret, who had worked at the asylum during its final years. The diary detailed unethical experiments conducted under the guise of treatment, procedures that tested the boundaries of science and sanity. Patients were subjected to isolation, sensory deprivation, and mysterious injections, all shrouded in secrecy. Margaret's entries also hinted at a shadowy group known only as the Custodians, rumored to have influenced the asylum's operations and silenced any who opposed them. The Custodians' reach seemed to extend into town politics, business, and law enforcement, explaining the persistent obstacles Laura faced. Publicly, Hollow Creek's leaders maintained a facade of normalcy, but beneath the surface, fear festered. Residents whispered about disappearances, strange lights in the woods, and cryptic symbols carved into trees near the asylum ruins. The line between folklore and fact blurred. Laura's personal life began to unravel as the investigation intensified. Threatening notes appeared on her doorstep, her phone was hacked, and she felt eyes watching her every move. Friends warned her to back off, but her determination only hardened. In a tense confrontation with a local councilman, Laura uncovered evidence of hush money paid to families of missing patients, silencing them to keep the asylum's dark history buried. The councilman's denial was fierce, but cracks in his story revealed the depth of corruption. The town was at a tipping point. With the truth threatening to surface, some residents rallied behind Laura, while others sought to protect the shadows that had long kept Hollow Creek's secrets safe. As Laura prepared to expose the Custodians and their grip on the town, a chilling message arrived, a warning that some truths could cost more than she was willing to pay. The atmosphere in Hollow Creek grew heavier as Laura Mitchell's investigation pierced deeper into the asylum's secrets. The Custodians, once just a whispered legend, became a tangible threat. Their influence was vast, extending into powerful families, local businesses, and even the police force. Despite mounting intimidation, Laura gained unexpected allies, a former patient who escaped the asylum's clutches decades ago, and a whistleblower within the police department willing to risk everything to bring the truth to light. Together, they uncovered records of illegal experiments funded by dark money and evidence that patients had been used as guinea pigs for unapproved drug trials. Names once respected in the community were now linked to cruelty, betrayal, and cover-ups. Public outrage swelled as Laura released damning documents to the press. Protests erupted outside the town hall, demanding justice and accountability. But with every revelation, Laura faced increasing danger. Her car was sabotaged, her home vandalized, and close calls with unknown assailants became routine. At the center of it all stood the asylum's final director, Dr. Caldwell, who had mysteriously disappeared years ago. Laura believed he held the key to unraveling the entire conspiracy. Her relentless pursuit led her to a hidden underground chamber beneath the asylum ruins, an eerie place filled with forgotten medical equipment, files, and chilling reminders of the past. In that shadowy labyrinth, Laura discovered evidence of patient disappearances that had never been reported, and recordings suggesting that the Custodians orchestrated their silence through fear and violence. As the truth clawed its way into the light, Laura realized the battle was far from over. The Custodians would fight to protect their secrets at any cost, but with the town watching and justice within reach, She was determined to end the nightmare once and for all. As the investigation into Allison Green's murder deepened, so did the shadows surrounding the town of Brookfield. Laura Mitchell, an unwavering investigative journalist inspired by Sarah Morgan's legacy, took the lead in pushing the story beyond local borders. But the personal cost was immense. Threats against her safety escalated to the point that she had to go into hiding. Yet Laura's determination never wavered. The Custodians, a secretive group entwined with the town's corrupt officials and shadowy agendas, maintained a firm grip on Hollow Creek's darkest secrets, working tirelessly to protect their power. Meanwhile, the families of the disappeared and victims formed a coalition, uniting their voices in a powerful demand for transparency and justice. Their protests echoed beyond Hollow Creek, attracting national media attention and amplifying pressure on authorities to act decisively. The momentum grew, fueling hope among those desperate for answers. A critical breakthrough arrived when a former custodian member, disgruntled and burdened by guilt, stepped forward with damning insider information. Detailed accounts of secret rituals, clandestine meetings, and the chilling extent of the asylum's dark legacy were revealed, shedding new light on the depths of corruption and concealment that had plagued the community for decades. Armed with fresh evidence and growing public support, Laura braced herself to confront the final pieces of the mystery. But time was slipping away. The custodians tightened their ranks, escalating efforts to intimidate, silence, and obstruct. The battle was no longer just about uncovering facts. It had become a fight for the very soul of Hollow Creek. In the midst of mounting tension, Laura found unlikely allies, former victims, local activists, and even a few brave officials willing to break the code of silence. Together, they formed a fragile yet determined front against the shadows. As the story approached its climax, the question loomed: would truth and justice finally prevail against a web of deceit, or would Hollow Creek remain forever haunted by its darkest secrets? The courtroom battles that followed became a defining moment for Hollow Creek and its people. Prosecutors presented the mountain of evidence unearthed by Laura Mitchell and her allies: documents, testimonies, and recordings that exposed the sinister network known as the Custodians. The courtroom was packed with tense faces, the community desperate for justice and closure. Powerful figures, once untouchable, now sat in the defendants' chairs, forced to answer for decades of corruption, cover-ups, and unspeakable acts. The trial unfolded with shocking revelations. Secret rituals, bribery, and manipulation of justice were laid bare. Witnesses testified with courage, many overcoming years of fear and intimidation to speak the truth. But the fight was far from over. Defense attorneys launched aggressive campaigns to discredit witnesses, suppress evidence, and sow doubt. Outside the courtroom, shadowy forces continued their efforts to intimidate key players. Threats, break-ins, and unexplained accidents reminded everyone that the Custodians' reach extended beyond the legal battle. Despite the danger, Laura and her team remained resolute. New allies emerged, including former insiders willing to testify and activists rallying public support. The case became a national symbol of resistance against corruption and the power of investigative journalism. As the trial neared its climax, the community held its breath. The truth was finally emerging from the shadows, but the cost was high. Families affected by years of silence and loss found some solace in the proceedings, yet the wounds were still raw. The courtroom drama illuminated not just a murder case, but a decades-long struggle for justice, truth, and healing. The question remained: would the verdict bring true accountability, or would the shadows once again reclaim Hollow Creek? The final verdict echoed through the courtroom, a moment charged with emotion and anticipation. Some faces reflected relief, others sorrow, the culmination of years spent battling shadows and secrets. Though justice was served, the scars left by the Custodians' reign would linger for years to come. Hollow Creek began a slow process of healing, its people united by the courage of those who dared to speak out. Laura Mitchell became a symbol of resilience, her tireless fight shining a light on corruption that had long been buried. The coalition of families and activists vowed to continue their work, ensuring the past would never be forgotten. Yet even as the dust settled, whispers of other hidden atrocities surfaced. The legacy of the Custodians served as a stark reminder that darkness can thrive where silence reigns. But with newfound awareness and determination, Hollow Creek stood poised to reclaim its future. As we close the pages on Case File 23, we leave you with a question. How many more shadows remain, waiting to be brought to light? Stay with us as we continue to uncover the forgotten stories that shape our world.